Imagine this. You're in a heated conversation, maybe at work, with a friend, or even in a relationship. Someone points a finger at you, accuses you of being late, insensitive, or dropping the ball on something minor. Your stomach tightens. The air thickens with unspoken judgment. And what do? If you're like most people, you rush in with an apology. "I'm sorry," you say, hoping to smooth things over, to clear the air, to show you're reasonable. It's automatic, isn't it? Trained into us from childhood. Apologize quickly, own up, be the bigger person. We think it diffuses tension, rebuilds bridges, proves our good intentions. But let's be brutally honest. That apology doesn't fix anything. It doesn't earn respect. Instead, it hands over the keys to your power. You see it play out every day. The colleague who apologizes first in a meeting, only to be steamrolled further. The partner who says sorry for every little slight, only to be taken for granted more. The friend who bends backward with regrets, only to watch the dynamic shift against them. Why? Because in the game of human interaction, apologizing first isn't humility, it's surrender. It signals weakness, invites more attacks, and locks you into a defensive posture where you're forever chasing approval. You think you're de-escalating. You're actually escalating your own vulnerability. And deep down, you know it. That lingering resentment after you apologize. That sense of having given ground without gaining any. That's the cost. Conventional wisdom says apologize to maintain harmony. But harmony at what price? Your control? Your respect? Your edge? You, the one watching this, have felt it. That moment when you apologize first, and instead of resolution, you feel smaller. The other person doesn't back down. They press harder. It's a trap we've all fallen into, conditioned by a world that prizes niceness over straightforward. But what if I told you there's a better way? A colder, more calculated path that flips the script entirely? Enter Machiavelli, the unflinching observer of power's raw mechanics. In his world, apologies aren't tools for peace, they're weapons turned against yourself. The brutal law he understood, centuries before psychology dissected it, is this: never apologize first. It's not about being stubborn or arrogant. It's about seizing control instantly. The conventional approach, rushing to say sorry, is not just ineffective, it's strategically suicidal. Why? Because an apology first admits fault before it's proven, cedes the narrative to your accuser, and exposes your throat to the wolf. Machiavelli saw human nature for what it is, a battlefield of perceptions, where the one who apologizes first loses the high ground. They become the guilty party in the eyes of observers, even if innocent. It's a concession that invites exploitation, turning a minor skirmish into your defeat. Think about it. When you apologize prematurely, you're not clarifying, you're confessing. You're validating their grievance, no matter how baseless, and handing them the moral authority. Machiavelli warned in The Prince that princes who show weakness invite rebellion. Translate that to your life. Apologize first, and you invite more demands, more accusations, more erosion of your position. It's counterintuitive because society screams, apologize to show strength. But that's emotional folly, not strategy. The shocking truth: apologizing first doesn't make you strong, it makes you prey. It shocks the system because it reveals how we've been programmed to self-sabotage in the name of politeness. Machiavelli's trick? Withhold the apology. Let the silence do the work. In that void, their accusation hangs, unvalidated, and the power shifts back to you. It's uncomfortable, yes, brutal even. But it's the path to instant control. So, what's the foundational principle here? Machiavelli's trick is simple yet devastating. Respond with calculated silence or redirection, never with an immediate apology. The how-to starts here. When accused or confronted, pause. Don't fill the air with regrets. Instead, let the moment stretch. This isn't passive, it's active control. Psychologically, it exploits human insecurity. Your accuser expects submission. When you deny it, their doubt creeps in. Did they overstep? Are you unbothered? Suddenly, they're the one exposed, questioning their own stance. The immediate impact? It flips the dynamic. They feel off balance, like they've thrown a punch into empty air. Perception shifts. You appear composed, in command, untouchable. Not because you're denying fault, but because you're controlling the narrative. This is about strategy, not ego. You're not seeking validation, you're orchestrating position. In power games, the one who doesn't flinch holds the reins. Apply this and watch how quickly respect follows. It's the first step to seizing control instantly, without a word of sorry. Now let's dig deeper into why this Machiavellian approach trumps the conventional rush to apologize. At its core, it's about understanding the psychological wiring of human interactions. People apologize first out of fear. Fear of conflict, fear of being seen as rude, fear of losing the relationship. It's an emotional trap, rooted in our innate desire for social approval. But Machiavelli knew that fear is a chain, not a shield. Strategically, apologizing first reinforces a power imbalance. It positions you as the subordinate, the one who needs to make amends. Psychologically, it triggers reciprocity in reverse. The other person feels entitled to more concessions because you've already given ground. Consider the mechanics. Human brains are wired for dominance hierarchies. When you apologize, prematurely, you're signaling submission, activating their reward centers for control. It's like handing over leverage in a negotiation. Machiavelli observed this in the courts of Renaissance Italy. Leaders who apologized quickly were undermined, while those who withheld projected strength. The misconception that apologies build trust. No, they build dependency if you're always the one offering them. You don't want trust based on your weakness. You want influence based on your restraint. Clarity? That's for the naive. Control is for the operator. Most fall into this trap because they crave emotional resolution over strategic advantage. But resolution without power is just temporary peace. Machiavelli's way is superior because it exploits the accuser's vulnerability, their need for your validation. Deny it, and you destabilize them. It's not cruel, it's calculated. By never apologizing first, you force them to confront their own aggression, shifting the burden back. Let's apply this to everyday scenarios, starting with the basics. First, a social gathering. You're at a party, and the acquaintance jokes about your recent mistake, say, forgetting an event. Conventional move. Apologize immediately to laugh it off. But that's weakness. Machiavellian tactic. Pause, meet their eyes with calm neutrality, then redirect. Say something like, interesting take, and change the subject. The shift? They squirm, wondering if they crossed a line. Power flips. You control the conversation's flow. Second scenario, a casual work interaction. Your boss nitpicks your report, implying carelessness. Don't apologize first. Instead, nod thoughtfully and ask, what specifically needs adjustment? This tactic, withholding apology, forces them to justify their critique. Psychologically, it makes them work for dominance, eroding their edge. You appear professional, not defensive, and the dynamic tilt. They're explaining, you're guiding. Third, an early-stage conflict with a friend. They accuse you of being distant, resist the urge to say sorry, respond with, tell me more about that. It invites elaboration without concession, exposing their insecurity. The observable shift? They backpedal or soften, handing you narrative control. These foundational tactics are straightforward. Silence or probe, never concede first. The result? Immediate respect, as others perceive you as unflappable, not reactive. Now, we escalate to the colder moves, the elite strategies that separate the Machiavellian operator from the amateur. These build on withholding apology, but they add layers of inversion and psychological judo. First advanced tactic, the inversion mirror. When accused, don't just stay silent. Reflect the accusation back subtly. Someone says, "You're always late, it's disrespectful." Respond with, "Sounds like timeliness matters a lot to you." No apology, no defense. Psychologically, this exploits projection. Humans often accuse others of their own flaws. By mirroring, you plant doubt. They question if it's their issue. It's effective because it destabilizes without confrontation, turning their weapon against them. Machiavelli would approve. It's like parrying a blade with its own momentum. Second, the calculated delay. In higher stakes moments, withhold any response entirely for hours or days. Let the accusations simmer. Then, if needed, address it on your terms, perhaps with a non-apology like, "I've considered what you said." This move leverages time as a weapon. Their initial anger fades, replaced by uncertainty. Why so potent? Human motivation thrives on closure. Deny it, and you control the emotional timeline. It's morally ambiguous, yes, some call it manipulative, but strategically, it's surgical. You seize control by making them chase resolution. Third, the elite feint. Pretend vulnerability to bait escala. Tian, then withdraw. If they push after your silence, say something vulnerable like, "If that's how you feel," without apologizing. It lures them into overcommitting, exposing their hand. Psychologically, it preys on overconfidence. They think they've won, only to realize you've orchestrated their overreach. These moves are colder because they require detachment, but they yield unbreakable influence. The mechanism? They exploit ego vulnerabilities, turning accusations into self-inflicted wounds. Now, let's broaden this to more complex contexts, where stakes are higher and dynamics more nuanced. Start with business meetings. You're pitching an idea, and a colleague interrupts, accusing you of overlooking risks. Conventional. Apologize and backtrack. Machiavellian. Pause, then redirect with, "Let's explore those risks together." No, sorry, the outcome? You frame it as collaboration, not concession, maintaining authority. Long-term, this builds an aura of unflappability. Colleagues hesitate to challenge you, knowing you'll turn it into your advantage. Compared to apologizing, which invites pile-ons, this secures your position in the hierarchy. Next, romantic relationships, a minefield of emotions. Your partner accuses you of not listening during an argument. Don't apologize first. That's emotional surrender. Instead, use the mirror. It seems like you're feeling unheard. This validates without admitting fault, shifting focus to their state. Psychologically, it diffuses volatility by making them introspect. The superior outcome? Conflicts resolve on mutual terms, not yours alone. Over time, you command respect effortlessly, avoiding the cycle of one-sided apologies that breed resentment. Conventional wisdom says apologize to show care, but that's weakness disguised as kindness. Machiavelli's way fosters balanced power. Finally, online interactions or public opinion. Social media erupts with criticism, say, a post accusing you of insensitivity. The trap, public apology, which amplifies the mob. Machiavellian application, respond sparingly, perhaps with a neutral statement like, "Appreciate the feedback," or "Nothing at all." Let the storm pass. This exploits digital volatility. Outrage fades quickly without fuel. Long-term advantage. You control your narrative, appearing above the fray. Apologizing first invites scrutiny, withholding projects strength, turning public perception into your fortress. In all these, the Machiavellian edge provides not just survival, but dominance. Perception bends to your will. Of course, objections arise. Won't withholding apology make me seem arrogant or cruel? Reframe it strategically. Arrogance is perception, and you control that by how you redirect. It's not cruelty, it's self-preservation in a world that exploits weakness. The goal isn't likability, it's effectiveness. If they see you as cruel, that's their misperception. Use it to your advantage, as it deters future attacks. Machiavelli didn't seek friends, he sought control. Another qualm. Isn't this manipulative? From a conventional moral lens, perhaps. But strategy isn't about morality, it's about results. Manipulation implies deceit. This is orchestration of truth through silence. You're not lying, you're not conceding prematurely. The uncomfortable reality: human interactions are power plays. Deny that, and you lose. Common pitfalls. First, overdoing silence into rudeness. Balance with subtle redirection to avoid alienation. Second, emotional leakage. If anger shows, you've lost the unflappable aura. Practice detachment. Third, apologizing later out of guilt. That's the trap. Only apologize if strategically beneficial on your timeline. Avoid these by internalizing the mindset. Perception over emotion. Master this, and objections dissolve into irrelevance. Let's solidify this. The core Machiavellian law: never apologize first. It's the trick to seize control instantly, turning potential weakness into unassailable strength. Withhold, redirect, invert, and watch power flow to you. Remember the phrase, apology is concession, silence is command. Here's the paradox that shatters conventional thinking. The more you apologize to prove your goodness, the more you prove your vulnerability. Society pushes apologies as moral high ground, but Machiavelli smirked at that illusion. True power lies in the unspoken, the void where their expectations crumble. It's paradoxical because withholding seems weak, yet it radiates invincibility. Embrace this, and you challenge the very fabric of human folly. Imagine the transformation if you apply this consistently. You become untouchable, a figure who commands rooms without a word. Accusations bounce off like arrows on a fortress wall. In meetings, colleagues defer. In relationships, partners respect your boundaries. Online, critics fade into noise. This isn't brute force, it's internal alchemy. You've shifted from reactive pleaser to strategic operator, radiating an aura of effortless power. Long-term respect accumulates like compound interest. People sense your control, hesitate to challenge, and align with your narrative. It's not about being feared or loved, it's about being inevitable. Power becomes effortless because you've mastered perception, turning human nature's mechanics into your silent ally. This journey doesn't end here. Internalize never apologizing first, test it in small skirmishes, and watch the shifts unfold. Deeper mastery awaits, layers of strategy that build on this foundation, revealing more hidden truths of influence and self-command. Machiavelli's wisdom is a path, not a destination. Each application fortifies your edge in life's endless games. In the end, control isn't given, it's seized in the moments you choose not to yield. Build that fortress, stone by stone, and you'll stand above the chaos, unmoved, unbreakable.